Tomorrow on Judge Joe Brown.
I look up from my laptop and here's Mr. Dunkin staring at me. Nostrils flaring. And I said, "Don't do it, Billy." And he goes,
"I'll warn you once."
Warn him.
New Joe. And now it's time for Judge Joe Brown. He's the real deal in the courtroom today.
Please raise your right hand. Satellite technician Michael Cannon is suing his former friend for destroying his laptop. Defendant Billy Dunkin says the plaintiff was the cause of him losing work.
The plaintiff alleges that his friend deliberately destroyed his laptop.
yes.
The defendant alleges that plaintiff was bad-mouthing him around town, which prevented him from getting a position composing music for a certain film. Now, you tell me what you say has gone wrong here that brings us here today.
Okay. Basically, the meeting that me and the co-producer and the writer had wasn't supposed to be outside of our meeting. So the thing that I said about Billy's experience towards the movie wasn't supposed to have gone outside the... I didn't think that Billy should be handling the whole music department on his own, and I didn't think he had enough experience for it. And somehow it got all protruded out that I'm demonizing his name through town and, you know, saying that he's only been playing for 2 years, and I actually only said that he was only composing for 2 years.
No, Your Honor, that's...
Stop. Now, keep going. You'll have your chance.
He called me through the week wanting to know why I was talking all the smack about him, and I was like, I explained it to him, my insecurities on the movie, you know, that I just couldn't just say, yeah, go ahead and take the music, and, you know, the writer had actually said that he had another guy that he was going to do for it. So, you know, I had a choice to say, well, it's either going to be that guy or Mr. Dunkin here, and I unfortunately did not go with Mr. Dunkin. I went with the other guy because, in my opinion, he had some more experience. And then,
now, was your job to make that decision to render that opinion?
I thought that it was. I mean, I was the producer of the movie. So
well.
When I went to go to my second production meeting, and we had several, but the week before, and then he called me, and I thought him and I had smoothed it all over because I told him.
Me too.
I was like, you know, all right, and I explained to him why I said what I said, and then it was over. But then the next week, I go to the coffee house for the production meeting, and he's there waiting for me. And I'm just like...
No, Your Honor,
Stop.
So when I went in there, everybody was out back, or, well, there was a table of folks here, and it was his boss, and then they were out back. So I walked out back, and they all ignored me and just was real quiet. So I was like, well, I mean, I'm not really unfamiliar with that tactic in this town that we live in. People are like that all the time, or they're just kind of rude. So I just went ahead and just went back into the coffee house to do some research. Well, I look up from my laptop, and here's Mr. Dunkin staring at me. And, you know, and nostrils flaring, and he's just like, you know, he's just fuming. And I was just like, dude, what's going on, you know? And he's like, you know, he's just like, well, every time I'm around you, or every time I get around anybody, they're always sitting there saying, you're talking about me. And I was like, well, you know, I thought we had already talked about this, and I wasn't responding. I know I wasn't responding the way he was expecting me to. And then he just takes and goes, and he looks at me like that, and I said, don't do it, Billy. And he goes, bam, just like that. And I was like, well, there goes that. And
I take it that's the one in question.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, there's nothing else you can do to this thing. This thing is completely destroyed.
If it wasn't before, it certainly may be now.
It is. It is.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
I'm just the kind of guy that, you know, if I'll warn you once, and, you know, and if you keep on doing it, I warned him, you know?
Closed captioning sponsored by...
We're back. Judge Joe Brown, the plaintiff in this case, says his friend blew a comment about inexperience out of proportion during production meetings for a film project. He says the defendant grabbed his laptop, slamming it to the ground in an elaborate display at a coffee shop. Let's take a look.
Now, he says he's offered you his laptop in exchange for what he did.
Well, until he got me the money. And then when I get the money, then I'll give him his laptop back.
All right.
If I may say so, Your Honor, my laptop was purchased 2 years or so after his laptop. I think that alone should tell you...
That's not the point.
Well, I mean...
The point is you damaged it with the intent to do harm to the owner. Now, by the way, why do you think that gives you justification, even accepting all of your reasons, to do what you did?
Well, the reason I did what I did was because The only language he was apparently understanding was one of a physical type.
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean the only
Well,
language
like
he
he
was
said, I
understanding?
confronted him. This was the second confrontation.
Well, it's not your business to confront him.
Well, the thing that he seems to be leaving out is, you know, he's absolutely entitled to his opinion, and if he didn't think I was able to do it, that's his choice. Where the problem with me is, I've known this guy for almost 10 years. He just recently asked me to sit in on bass, probably a month before this happened. Also, he asked me to play in one of my projects that I was getting together, were songs that I wrote. Now, for someone who...
And that lasted for 2 hours.
Right, that's because we decided it wasn't a
Wait
good
a
idea.
minute. Wait. Time out. You're missing a point. I've been doing my profession for quite a number of decades. For one type of thing, I'd go get this crew. For another type of thing, I get that crew. It's got nothing to personal.
But it got personal when he started, well, more or less just lying about
Did you
me.
hear what he said? It wasn't him. It was another big mouth at the meeting
That's
that he
right.
suspects of being the one
that's
who
not true,
spread it.
because I confronted him. I brought the person who said that he
you
allegedly
went
said
for
this
that?
right
Look,
to
look,
him.
Look. That's wrong. That's childish. That's what the ladies do in the backside of the beauty salon. Look, here's what it is. We're going to have a confrontation up in
Well,
here.
you know, I'm the kind of person, I confront people. When I have a problem, I don't...
You don't confront people off of that kind of thing. You smile, and what you say is, I understand that you thought somebody was better able. Since we know each other, I would appreciate a little word up on what you think I need to do to get my stuff together. That's how you handle it.
I did that the first time. I'm just the kind of guy that, you know, if I warn you once, and, you know, and if you keep on doing it, I warned him, you know? And he had every... Yeah.
Somehow or another, we're having a failure to communicate.
Judge Joe Brown makes his ruling after this.
You claim that you purchased that item for about $1,000.
Yes.
Ordinarily, I'd depreciate that down where it is not a tortious action that you complain of on the part of the defendant, who seems to take some satisfaction in having done it and insist on offering a series of justifications to me for what is socially impermissible. So first off, you get your full value, not the depreciated value, which would be the $1,000, and an additional $500 for the punitive aspect of it, because the conduct is inappropriate and needs to be punished. $1,500 will be your award and your cost.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And this courtroom is now in recess.
The defendant in this case says he warned the plaintiff about his impending explosion, but the plaintiff, along with the rest of us after his demonstration, did seem surprised anyway. The defendant's going to have to pay. We'll be right back.
Next on Judge Joe Brown.